What's up, everybody? So I had to make a very unscripted video, and after listening to some of this crazy that's going on in the news right now, I had to make a video on this, and this is going to change real estate quite a bit, and it just like brutally annoys me what is going on. So there's a movement out there to ban gas stoves, gas furnaces, gas hot water heaters. I mean, this is legitimate law being talked about in California, the Northeast, just basically all over the place. It's a push for this global climate change. It's like basically a shift focus, like, hey, look left, we're going right. But this has a lot of effect, and I'm going to break this down in this video, the things that nobody's talking about and how it'll affect everybody. This is big, so stick with me on this. And at the end, I'm going to tell you maybe how to prepare for this, because it's coming. There's really not much we're going to be able to do. They're going to force us to do this. So here we go. All right, so I want to paint the picture. Right now, about 35% of America uses a gas stove, okay? And let's factor in gas furnaces, commercial kitchens, commercial furnaces and smelters, things that have to have a high output of heat. Over the years, everybody has said, well, let's use commercial kitchens with gas because it's a cheaper way of getting a lot of heat. And if you've ever gone to the back of like Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, any flame grilled restaurants, steak restaurants, anything that has cooked soup, any type of big amounts of food that has to be cooked, it's done with gas. And people have always wanted a gas stove because it just cooks better. It's just gets the temperature and holds that temperature much better. So there's that. And then there's the idea of the grid. Look, there are only a few ways of making electricity now that they ban nuclear power in a lot of places. You either do it by burning coal or you do it by burning natural gas and creating electricity. So whether you burn natural gas at the house, propane, whatever, or you burn it at the facility that creates the power, natural gas is still being used to create heat to make power. So I don't understand like the throughput on this or the thought process. Okay, let's focus on this. If you take all the commercial kitchens and you throw them on the grid, if you've gone to the back of Chick-fil-A and saw the size of that gas input pipe, you would know that that is going to be hundreds and hundreds of amps. I'm willing to bet, and comment down below if you know the exact number of amps you would need to power those stoves. Let's say a normal cooktop is, for a stove, you're running 30 amps, okay? Let's times that by 5. Let's say you've got 5 commercial cooktops out there at a regular restaurant. Now let's just say you got some ovens going too. You're going to need at least 150 to 200 amps more on that building. I'm willing to bet it's way more than that. You're going to be in the 400 amps more to go to Chick-fil-A to run those stoves. Now times that by every restaurant on the entire row. Okay? Not to mention if we throw furnaces, how everybody is heating their houses. So now, like, in my part of the United States, it doesn't even get that cold, but a lot of people still use gas stoves and gas furnaces and gas hot water heaters. If you did that if you made us all switch on my side of town, everybody has older houses. The electrical box and input to these houses would all have to be changed. I think there was an estimate in California for California to switch, make everybody switch, which they're saying they're going to make everybody switch, just like to electric cars, but make gas to electric. It was going to cost the average real estate owner $20,000 or more to change over, and that was low side, from gas to electric, okay? $20,000. And I bet you if you own an apartment complex, that's per unit, okay? This is going to be a lot of money. It's going to cost real estate owners a lot of money to switch over. Is it cleaner and safer at the house level? Maybe. Okay, people are talking about indoor pollution. I don't know, I was raised around natural gas. I'm fine. A lot of people are fine, okay? It's kind of like that idea of saying we're going to outlaw straws, but we're still going to allow cigarette butts to go everywhere. Like right now, if you drive your boat out to White Island or Sand Island, that's what we call it, Sand Island, the sand's white, that's why they call it that, that you can pick up cigarette butts by the thousands. During the summer, you can literally just run a net down the sand and see just cigarette butts. But we outlawed straws, okay? I'm not saying anything bad about if you smoke cigarettes. I'm just saying they don't belong in the water. And if we're going to write tickets for stuff, let's do it for cigarette butts. But these are the things that just blow my mind, that come out of left field, that politicians just want to push. And there are so many things out there that you could spend your time on to fix, but greatly augmenting the way we heat and cook our food. Do you want to do it? Cool, I'm all for it. Quit spending money on wars and fix our infrastructure, change the grid, and we'll all go electric. And if you want the pollution to be created at the plant level and scrub it, cool, I'm all for it. But what I'm saying is that if you put all this stuff on the grid, inside a couple of years, it's going to crash it. California already is telling people not to charge their electric cars. Now, let's throw this in. Okay, let's say you're only doing 30 amps to 2 Teslas or 2 electric cars. That's 60 amps that you need at your house. Now, on my house, if I got rid of my furnace I just spent $10,000 on, that they're probably not going to recoup me for. I threw that on my grid. There's another 30 amps. Now my stove, there's another 30 amps. Okay? And then my hot water heater, or water heater. If I switch from gas to that, back to electrical, there's another 30 amps. 30, 60, 90, 120. We're looking at 120 to 150 extra amps that I'll need on my house to power these things. I'm going to have to go from a 200 amp service if I want to keep my hot tub to a 400 amp service, okay? Anybody that does the math on that, and if your house is older, you're probably going to have to rewire a lot of stuff. Now you amplify that by everybody in the neighborhood on the grid all having to do it at one time. Plus the price of Romex is going out of control. Let's not even start that. With the amount of electrical panels and boxes and everything you're going to need, the grid will not handle all this going on one time. Like the neighborhood access grid, and if you're an electrical engineer out there, comment below. California is not going to be able to sustain it. Texas already can't sustain it. And not to mention, if you have a gas furnace and it gets really freaking cold, you can make the house whatever temperature you want. Okay, we just had that freeze where it got down below 20 degrees here in the panhandle of Florida. And those that had heat pumps realized real fast that the differentiation of cold and a heat pump is about 30 degrees. It's really hard when you get to 20 degrees to get that heat pump to get it up to 65, 70, 75 degrees. It's probably not going to happen. You usually got a 30 degree-ish differentiation of how cold it is versus what your house can be. And then everybody's plugging in more heaters and they're all freezing. My gas furnace did not move off 72 degrees the entire cold spell. Okay? It wasn't even chugging hard. Okay? Gas heat is just, it gets to your bones and makes you feel better. I don't know, that's just my rant on all this, that we don't think these things through before we let politicians run away with it. You know, do I think it'd be great for everything electrical? Yeah, cool, it'd probably be safer. I would much rather just run a 30 amp wire to a stove and let it all be done. But the fact that you tell us we can do this, not to mention the amount of people that would be unemployed because natural gas is everywhere, but you tell us to do this, and then a couple years later, you change the rules, and we're out thousands of dollars. I bought gas stove, gas furnace, gas water heater, because here in my part of the country, when we have hurricanes, the power goes out a lot. And when you live in an old power grid area or an old neighborhood, the power grid goes out a lot. It goes out a lot. But if you have gas, you can always have warm water, a place to cook, and it's just efficient. You can always warm your house. And we learned that because our power was always going out. And, you know, You spend thousands of dollars preparing your house in one direction, or if you get a natural gas generator for hurricanes, and then all of a sudden you outlaw it. Or you say, we're not doing that anymore, and they start ripping them out of the ground. That's the same thing with the tax code. You spend all these years preparing to do your taxes right, and then you change the code again. It's just not fair, and I don't think that this should be able to happen. Now, if you're going to plan out 15, 20 years, cool. You know, I just won't buy one when I go to replace it. But when people are still being able to replace their products, and then you raise the price of natural gas to the roof, or you put some kind of crazy tax burden on us, that's not fair. So comment down below what you think. I had to get this off my chest, and I want to know, like, do people really believe this stuff? You know, like, do you really believe that everybody should just switch from natural gas? Like, if you think that, cool. Comment down below. But I don't think financially we can do this. Not quick. And that's all I got to say about this. See you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Rant over.